We're reading Spellbook of the Lost and Found. We are on chapter 12. Hazel, Wednesday, May 10th. Lost. 2 tarnished teaspoons, 1 small candle. Olive goes into the hall to call her sister, and I text Mags to ask if she'll give her a lift home. After I press send, since Olive's out of earshot, I turn to Rowan. So we're bringing girls home now, I ask. Funny, I didn't get the memo. Rowan's cheeks go pink. It's not like that. She just showed up in the middle of a storm. What was I supposed to do? The crossword said to expect guests, Ivy says quietly. And this girl just got lost in the storm. Rowan's mouth opens slightly. She's important, says Ivy. She must be. Important how? Rowan asks. I don't know, Ivy answers. I just think she is. Then it hits me. The crossword wasn't talking about my mom. There's ash in my mouth and I can't swallow. Ivy said, who else could it be? And I let myself believe it. It's been nearly 4 weeks since we've heard from our mother. What if she's really gone? When I close my eyes, I see flames. When Olive comes back in, she has tea and cookies with us and asks a whole bunch of questions about how long we've been living here and why and how come Ivy's here too. And even though I like Olive, she's funny and kind of sarcastic, easy to talk to. I'm finding it hard to breathe. Smoke and flames. My mom not coming home again. Rowan's chatting and laughing with Olive, and he doesn't know, and I don't know how to tell him. And I don't want it to be true. But I've known it since the day we left, the day we ran away. I knew we'd never see her again. I only tuned back into what's going on around me when Ivy spots the shoe I found stuck to my bike when I rode home from work, sitting in the shopping bag where I stuffed it. I'd forgotten all about it. Did you meet Cinderella at work? Ivy asked me, holding the scuffled ballet flat by the heel between her thumb and forefinger. Immediately, Olive snatches it off of her. Where did you get this? She asked. I found it, I tell her, when I was riding home. It was stuck to my bike wheel. Let me guess, Ivy says to Olive in her living voice. You lost it at the party. She cocks her head to one side like a blue-haired bird. You had my jacket, I said slowly, and I had your shoe. That's really weird, Olive says. But then she shrugs and stuffs the shoe into her school bag. I suppose we're even then. It is kind of weird. I guess we are. I reach into my own bag and pull out the notebook. I found this too. I held it up in the beam of lantern light and stolen candles. It was in the field where the party was last Saturday. Someone must have dropped it there. I don't mention the key that fell out of it. It's still in the pocket of the work trousers that I took off by the door. I also don't mention the red-haired girl. I'm not sure why. Then I open the notebook, and it's like the answer to my prayers. It says Spellbook of the Lost and Found. What is it? Rowan asks from across the table. It's a spellbook, I tell him, as I peel off the rubber band and turn the pages carefully. It doesn't look like a spellbook from the outside, not really. When I picked it up, I thought it was maybe a diary. It's red leather and pretty small, like the molluskins poets carry around in films. But inside, the paper looks old. Yellow. The pages are waterlogged, and some of them are falling apart. On some, the ink has run so much they're illegible. But the page the spell is on is clear. I can read it perfectly. A spellbook, Olive asks. Spells and saints, Ivy whispers. A list of gods and offerings. I hadn't noticed her reading over my shoulder. For every page that's written on, there's one with things stuck to the paper. As I turn the pages, a feather bent backward by the book unfolds. An autumn leaf covered in strange symbols. An old koan shines in the light of the kitchen. What a weird thing to find, Olive says. There's something familiar about the handwriting. I wonder who wrote it. Ivy says, like she's read my mind. I go back to the page with a spell on it and read it again, and again, and again. Calling for the lost to be found, you will need a charm or a talisman, a glass bottle filled with the waters of Lay, the underground river in Hades that makes the drinker forget, a link to silver string, red ink, olive oil, a handful of rowan berries, a hazel branch, a vine of ivy, as many rose thorns as you have losses, moss gathered from under an oak tree, and human blood. Rowan and I have lost our parents. In my hand there's a spell to call back what's been lost. Olive comes up behind me and reads over my shoulder. She reaches across me and turns the pages. She says weird and wow, and how old do you think this thing is? But that's not what I'm wondering right now. Who does it belong to? I think out loud. Who'd lose a spell book? Olive laughs. Who'd bring a book of spells to a party, she says. What? Rowan asks. Olive looks at me. You said you found it in the field the party was in last Saturday, she says. The party, my jacket, Rowan's cap, Ivy's necklace, Olive's shoe, everybody lost something. Somebody cast a spell at the party, I said slowly. I don't know how I know it's true, but it's like Ivy's crossword, right every time. Everybody seems to have lost something since then. Oh, don't be silly, says Olive. Then she backtracks. Sorry, I just mean people lose shit at parties all the time. I doubt it's the first time any of us has lost something after a few drinks. But Ivy's nodding, flipping to the end of the spell. Be careful what you bargain with. Every lost thing requires a sacrifice, a new loss for every called thing found. She closes her eyes. That's why we're all been losing things. Somebody cast this spell to find something, but they didn't sacrifice something as well. So everyone who was at the party is losing things to make up for that. Seriously? Olive laughs at this? Do you really believe all that? She looks at Rowan, who just kind of shrugs. I mean, he says, it does explain a lot. A lot of what? I lost a shoe. Hazel lost a jacket. That all sounds pretty normal to me. But then Olive stops, and the look on her face changes. It's like she's thought of something. Something she's lost. Something more than a scuffed silver shoe. A hazel branch, I read aloud. Olive, oil. Rowan, berries. And a vine of ivy. Hazel, olive, rowan, and ivy. That's an ingredient for each of us. Olive leans closer. And rose thorn, she added quietly. Ivy takes the book from me and says something a bit like wonder. You're right. There's a part for each of us to play. Olive's phone buzzes suddenly in the silence. She checks the message and stands up fast. Shit, she says, that's my sister. My parents are looking for me. I have to go. As if on cue, we hear the crunch of tires outside. Mags. Olive leaves, holding her school bag over her head against the rain. We watch her go, sitting silently around a table we found at a garage sale, on chairs we salvaged from the side of the road, drinking from mugs that we stole. Rowan doesn't know this isn't temporary. He doesn't know our mom's not coming home. That she probably died in that fire. But he looks like he knows something. His face is drawn and he stares out of the kitchen door where Olive left, but he's not looking at anything at all. Ivy's frowning, her bottom lip between her teeth. There's a part for each of us to play, she said. A spell to make lost things found again. The only problem is, how do I get them to cast it with me, without ever telling them why?